before we get started, okay, I need your professional opinion. From
Mhm.
one metalhead to another, okay?
All right. All
I need
right.
to rate my headbanging. We're going to go
You
on a
got it.
scale of 1 to 10. A
Yeah.
5 would mean it's just metal. But if we get to 10, that's heavy metal. All right?
All
Here
right.
we go. 3,
I got
2, 1.
you. Mhm.
Huh. All right. All right.
Hmm.
That felt pretty good. What do you think?
Man, I've seen a lot of headbanging in my days because we played a whole bunch of shows, and I'd have to say, man, if that's not a 9.5, that's definitely a 10, man.
Oh, yeah. That's what I'm talking about. Brick Headstrong! Brick Headstrong! He's got the reps to you! He's got the reps to you! Brick Headstrong! All right, everyone. Welcome to Reppin Fitness. I'm Coach Brick Headstrong, and with me today, my guest, he shreds harder than your gym playlist. We're talking about metal. Playing it, lifting it, living it. But this guy, he can do them both at the same time. Let's welcome CrossFit trainer and singer and bassist for Bucked Up. It's Alex. What's up, Alex? How's it going?
Man, pretty good. Pretty good, Brett. Thanks for having me on the show, man. I really
Oh,
appreciate that.
I'm
Honor. So I'm
stoked.
happy to be here.
I'm stoked because I never met someone who puts metal on their back and then puts metal into the strings in front of them. How the heck did you think of that? How did you think of that? That's
Man,
incredible.
it's just one of those situations where all of my friends always tease me because, I play. We have this one song I do where I'll play bass and drums and I'll rap all at the same time. And
Wow.
so they're like, man, you're really good at like combining your hobbies. And then somebody made a joke about I should combine, the CrossFit and the weightlifting with playing guitar. And I'm was sitting there thinking for forever, like, what is a weighted movement that I could do? Because obviously I can't do bench pressing unless I'm playing piano with my feet, but I'm gonna
Right.
need both hands free. So it kind of I did a couple where I was doing a one-handed deadlift and then just kind of like tapping on the notes with this hand,
Huh.
but I wanted to get a little more intricate with it. So I figured, a lot of the Olympic lifters, I know Squat University did a really good piece on one of my videos with the no hands back squat, how that's actually beneficial for squatting. So I figured I was like, let me hit a no hands back squat and see how I can play and be able to squat. So tried it out. Luckily, I got it on video, and I guess people liked it because it was different.
Yeah, really. I thought it was incredible. I gotta imagine you gotta have great form to be able to do something like that.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, little room for error on that one, buddy.
Oh, definitely not. If I played a guitar, I'd give it a go, but I'm not very good at that. Have you been to the gym today?
You know what? Sunday is one of the only days that I do take a little break, but I do have a home gym at the house.
Oh,
Sometimes I might hit like a little row, or I might take the dogs out and the kids out for a hike. But other than that, Sunday uh, is recovery day.
that's
Back when
incredible.
I was in my 30s and 20s, like
Right.
yeah, I used to work out, 6, 7 days a week. But when you start getting, up there, I'm getting close to 50 now. I'm
Oh,
trying to get the most out of each workout, but also recovery at this point for me is just as important as the working out.
oh yeah, absolutely. I agree. Now, you said you've been going to the gym for a while.
Oh yeah.
Do you remember the first time you started working out?
I mean, honestly, I can't remember like a first time, but I do remember like back when I was, elementary school age. I
Whoa.
had a couple little plates and some dumbbells at the house, and I can remember my friends coming over, and I had this set of 10-pound dumbbells, and then this little 5-pound uh, plastic. You know how Kmart used to have those. I don't know how old you are, but back in the 80s, Kmart used to sell these like little plastic concrete weight sets.
Oh, I know.
And
I know what you're talking about.
I had like a 5-pound of those and some 10-pound dumbbells, and my friends would come over and I would lay on the ground and I would do dumbbell flies with the tens, but then
Oh,
they could never do the dumbbell flies with them, so I'd always give them the other weight plate. But that's one of my earliest memories about working out. Other than I was always the Alabama kid in the creeks that was just seeing if I could pick up the biggest rocks over my head when I was,
Oh, yeah.
just elementary school age. That's just what I've always done.
And then you're just throw them
Yeah,
somewhere.
make a big
Yeah.
splash.
Yeah, that's awesome. I love that. Now, this is Reppin Fitness. So I got
hmm
to ask you about reps, all right? You're in CrossFit. What
hmm
rep ranges do you find yourself in when you're training?
That's the beauty about CrossFit is that it's constantly varied. So
Oh,
there are
okay, okay.
days where I'm hitting to see what I can get for singles, doubles, and triples. There's days where I'm doing, like, for example, I had a workout last week where I had 500 total push-ups in the workout. Um, so it really varies depending on what the workout is because you're constantly hitting, different energy pathways through your workouts. So it all depends on what the goal of the stimulus is for that day. Is this a heavy stimulus where we're going for like max effort as far as weight goes, or is this a stimulus where we're going to see, how many reps we can get and how fast we can get them?
500.
Yeah.
That's incredible. But hey, you're a CrossFit trainer, and when I was looking you
Mhm.
up, right, it said L3. Does that mean
Mhm.
like level 3?
Yes, sure does.
Okay. Well, I got that down. At least I knew that. But tell me, what is CrossFit? What is it in comparison to me going to the gym and lifting weights? What is it like?
So that's a real good question. So CrossFit, by definition, it's constantly varied functional movements performed at high intensity.
Okay.
So the idea behind CrossFit is you want to be really good at everything. So you want to practice the gymnastics portions like
Oh.
handstand walks, handstand push-ups, muscle ups on the rings, body weight movements. You also want to practice Olympic lifting movements like clean and jerk and snatch. And you
Oh.
also want to practice, the powerlifting movements, deadlift, bench press, squat. And then you want to throw in the running elements in there as well, hitting the occasional 5K. So it's not necessarily that you're trying to be a master at one thing, but you're trying to be at least proficient in all areas where if I went and competed in an Olympic lifting meet, that I would do well. If I went to a powerlifting meet, I would do well. If I went to do some, endurance, tough mudders, or eventually like did like a 5K run or something, like I would at least do well.
Interesting.
Mm.
Now, do you think you need to have experience before getting into CrossFit, or can a beginner do it?
So this is the great thing about CrossFit,
Huh?
and when I talk about CrossFit, I want to would be real clear about something is that when I talk about CrossFit, I talk about the Greg Glassman, who is the founder of CrossFit, like his
Oh.
principle, his methodology, like what he had intended CrossFit to be when it started. So according to like CrossFit definition, the great thing about it is it's universally scalable. So I can take the exact same workout and I can have somebody who has been doing CrossFit for, 5, 10 years, and they could bring their grandmother in there and they can do the same workout as their grandmother can do. We can just scale it differently. So that way the CrossFit athlete with his grandmother can achieve the same stimulus from the same workout. So the grandmother might not be doing, ring muscle ups, but she will be having a pull and a push exercise put in there. She might not be
Oh.
doing 30-inch box jumps, but at least we can do some step ups or something to kind of give her the same stimulus of that movement. And then hopefully over time, we're able to, raise the height of the step up or raise the intensity of whatever the pull movement is to be able to make them be able to get, goal of achieving those RX movements.
Oh. Okay.
hmm
Well, that's good to know. I can bring Grandma Headstrong, see
hmm
if she can get some reps in. That'd be great. Now,
Definitely. I mean,
how did you first get into this?
so I was a traditional gym follower. I had got a gym membership to Gold's Gym when I was 16
Nice.
and started driving, and I hit the classic Gold's Gym workouts. Monday, Wednesday, Friday, chest, shoulders, back, Tuesday,
Yeah, get
Thursday,
them.
legs.
I
But
love it.
something always comes up on Tuesday and Thursdays when legs comes in. Like there's never excuses on chest day, but when legs days come in, that's when there's always, well, and I need to study for that test tomorrow, or well, I kind of need to wash my car, or
Oh
maybe I
yeah,
need to do laundry.
I hear
You
you.
know,
Now
yeah.
hold on a sec though.
Mhm.
What do you think about this? Brick
Yeah.
recently got a program that had a leg day and a lower
Hmm.
body day. What's the
Hmm.
difference?
You know what? Kind of thinking about that, big difference for like what I would consider the difference between legs and lower body. For me, if I'm thinking a leg day, I'm
Right.
thinking more like a leg pressing movement.
Okay.
But if I'm thinking a lower body workout, I'm thinking like reverse sled pulls, sled pushes. I'm thinking like maybe even heavy farmer's carries. I'm
Okay.
thinking box jumps, lots of weighted lunges and stuff like that. So that's just kind of what the idea I get in my head when somebody says like a leg day versus a lower body day. Lower
Okay.
body day I might consider like toes to bar or something to activate, my hips a little bit more, maybe throwing some deadlifts in there to stimulate that, lower back.
Well, that's a great answer. Usually people just tell me it's a scam. That's a pretty good idea. You're
Well,
pretty
thank you.
right there, I think. How is CrossFit structured in terms of workout length and intensity? You mentioned intensity a lot here.
Mhm. Oh yeah. So that's a big misconception about CrossFit is people think that you're
Oh.
coming in and you just like push it so hard till you throw up and you're falling on the ground.
Oh.
One of the biggest things about CrossFit is there's four basic types of workouts. Okay.
Okay.
Number one, you have the monostructural heavy type of workout. So
Okay.
this is a day where we might spend, and remember I'm talking about traditional CrossFit
Oh yeah.
methodology.
Yeah, I got you.
They call it a heavy day. So what a heavy day means is we're going to take a lift. Let's say front squat, for example.
Front squat.
And the workout for front squat would be 3-3-3. So what that means is you're going to do 3 reps on front squats, 3 sets. But these are going to be 3 maximal effort sets. So somebody who's not used to CrossFit or doesn't know how to coach CrossFit would see the 3 sets of 3 and think, okay, set 1, 2, 3. Okay, we're done now. Now what do we do? But the thing is that with something like front squat, this is something we would generally clean from the ground. So
Oh.
this gives us a lot of time to get a good warm up. We get good chance to work with all the athletes on clean form.
Okay.
Then once we work them through on the cleans and drill them to make sure everything looks good, then we start going through with the front squats. Now it gives them a chance to be able to power clean or squat clean the weight going through the 3 reps until they achieve that point to where on the third rep they can barely get it. Then they might rest 3 to 5 minutes and attempt it again with anywhere from 5 to 10 pounds more weight, rest a few more minutes, and then attempt it again. So just that one little section I explained usually takes about 30 to 40 minutes
Yeah, I was gonna say.
to be able to get through. Then after we get through those 3 super heavy sets, now remember we might have done 5 to 10 sets before this. Then it gives us a chance to kind of mobilize and stretch and go over some maybe some diet nutritional advice towards the end of the class. So we're able to fill up the whole hour class with that. So that's the first one.
Okay.
Second one is the short sprint workouts. One of the
Oh.
most classic CrossFit workouts. And if you say Fran to a CrossFitter, somebody who has done traditional CrossFit, that's usually one of the main things you ask. Hey, man, what's your Fran time? What's your best Fran time? And they would say, oh, God, Fran.
Fran.
So what this workout is simple. It's 21 15 9 rep scheme of pull-ups and thrusters. So the way this works is you start off with the clock 3, 2, 1, go. You perform 21 reps of the first movement,
Oh, I like that.
21 reps of the second movement.
Oh, I like that.
Then you do 15 reps of the first movement,
Oh,
15 reps of the second,
this sounds great.
9 reps, and then finishing off with 9 reps. Now, the goal here is you're getting a total of 45 pull ups, you're getting a total of 45 thrusters, and you're trying to achieve this in the least amount of time as possible. Now,
Okay.
the thing with a thruster is it's a full body movement. So you're going into a front squat all the way down to the ground, and then you're coming up to a stand, finishing with the bar pressing up over your head. Pairing that up with the pull up, we have that pull down movement that's happening. So this is like one of the worst as far as just wrecking your body movements. Some of the best athletes out there have, a low 2 to even maybe even a sub 2 time is considered,
What?
that's considered, like a phenomenal time if you can
That's
get around
incredible. Yeah.
Yeah. So usually the average competitive CrossFitter is anywhere from the 3 to 5 minute range. They do put a 10-minute cap on the workout just to be able to achieve that stimulus. So these short sprint workouts, sub 5 minutes, you might think, hey, it's only a 5 minute workout. But when you push yourself through one of these workouts and got to the end of it, you can understand definitely why. But once again, when it's a short workout, you have a long warm up leading up to it to be able to prep your body for that.
Oh yeah.
Then we have number 3. So number
Oh, what's number
3 is going
three?
to be our medium length workout. This is
Okay.
about your 20-minute capped workout. So this could be something like they have a benchmark workout named Cindy, which is
Cindy.
5 pull-ups. Yeah, it's called Cindy. It's 5 pull-ups, 10 push-ups, 15 air squats, and you repeat that triplet as many times as you can in 15 minutes.
Oh,
So some of the beginner goals for this one is you want to try to get 1 round every minute. So that way, after 20 minutes, you've completed 20 rounds, which when you look at the grand scheme of things, that's 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, and 300 air squats that you've done in the course of 20 minutes,
that's a
which is
lot
a
of
pretty good
reps.
work. Yeah.
Oh,
So that's going to be your, and we don't necessarily have to think about body weight movements, but we're looking at more time domain here. So it can be anything kind of put up that's going to keep you in about that, 10 to 20 minute range. Then we have our fourth one. Our fourth one is known as our chipper workouts. Our chipper
chipper.
workouts are really long workouts. This could be something like CrossFit does a lot with the hero military community and comes out with hero workouts for like fallen soldiers, kind of honor them. And
Oh,
usually these
cool.
workouts are grinders. One of the
Oh,
most popular ones that they like to pull off on Memorial Day is called Murph. So
I've
Murph
heard of
is
that.
yeah, Murph is the 1 mile run followed by 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, and then another mile run.
That's a lot of
One of my
reps.
personal favorite hero workouts is Adam Brown because it's like, you have deadlift, box jumps, wall balls, you have bench press, and you also have heavy squat cleans. So that's usually about, 25, 30-minute workout, kind of dependent. Getting it sub 20 on a good day is great, but as far as that stimulus we're looking for that fourth step, is something that's going to be anywhere from 20 minutes plus, usually maybe 30, 40 minutes.
Wow.
Yeah.
I think I like Cindy. I'll go with
Yeah,
Cindy.
that's a fun one.
Yeah, for sure. Now, what type of results are we talking when you're doing CrossFit? What do you think?
So the big thing with it is it depends on your athletic background.
Sure.
If you've been in the gym and you've been working out real hard for a while, then of course you're not going to see results as quickly because your body's kind of used to it.
Right.
You will start seeing results because it's going to get you out of your comfort zone. You're going to be using muscles and things that you are not used to using if you've been doing traditional gym exercises on equipment. For the folks that have never done any type of workouts in a while and they come in and start doing CrossFit under the guidance of a proficient coach, will notice that within the first about 6 months, they're
Right.
making skyrocket gains. Their
Skyrocket.
lifts are going up, skyrocket, man. Their lifts are going up, their body weight movements are getting better. But the big thing is, it's about the other 23 hours of the day.
Oh, yeah.
When you come into the gym and you put in your work, if you're leaving from the gym and you're sedentary all day, or, you get done with a great workout, so you decide to go and, treat yourself to that ice cream or
Oh,
that pizza, or you're hanging out and having just a bunch of beers with the boys
can
all
I do
weekend
that?
long. Yeah, so that's one of the things that's going to hamper your results a little
Oh,
bit. But
okay.
when you
Okay.
come in and you take the other 23 hours of the day and you're like, let me dial my nutrition in, let me go ahead and make sure I'm sleeping, let me make sure I don't have a lot of stress, then combined in with the constantly varied functional movement at high intensity that CrossFit is, then that's going to make you see results a lot faster. So it's just like any workout program, man. You know what I'm saying? The more you put into it, the more you're going to get out of it, the more you dedicate yourself to it, the better it's going to be for you.
Oh, yeah. I got to agree. It's
Mm,
just about taking care of yourself, not just in the gym, but outside of it. Because you're right.
yeah.
There's another 23 hours in the day. Well, for most
Hmm.
people, not for Brick. I'm at the gym right now. I don't really
Yeah.
leave it. But the one thing I know about CrossFit is that it's a lot of group classes, right?
Hmm.
There's a big
Yeah.
community at play.
Hmm.
How do you think that affects your fitness journey?
So one of the great things that I noticed about CrossFit is the community.
Oh, yeah.
When you get in, you start to get folks when they really get committed to CrossFit, they'll stay with it for years. You get to build these relationships with your athletes. You get to learn about, where they work, what their kids are doing, what their spouses are doing. Eventually, they start bringing their spouses and their kids into classes with them,
Oh, that's
and they
awesome.
turn it from a workout experience for them to like a family bonding experience. Working with the other coaches, kind of building relationships there. Um, Going to different types of trainings and meeting folks, who are, fitness like minded around the country and staying in touch with them just to kind of bounce ideas off of. It helps keep you accountable. It helps keep your goals like realistic and in perspective. As you start to get older in age, you start to talk with more aging athletes to kind of see what they were going through as they were getting older, how their training regimens might have been changed, and then you're able to help pass that information on, to the next generation coming up. And it's just a really great experience, man. It's just built these lifelong relationships where you're more than just a fitness community; it's more like a fitness family.
Yeah, right. Now you're a coach, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
And I got to imagine a lot of these workouts, they're pretty explosive, right?
Yeah, you can say that.
You got to be in the right mindset.
Always.
What do you do as a coach to help people get there? How does CrossFit develop that?
So one of the things that you really want to take in consideration is number one, people's athletic abilities and backgrounds, and number
Oh,
two,
yeah.
their goals. So that's
What
one
would
of
you
the
do with
biggest
someone like
things.
me? I'm pretty in
Man,
shape, right?
I will bring you in. I'll push you to your limits on some stuff. We would see
Oh,
where your deficiencies were, and
yeah?
then we would kind of focus on what areas you're kind of lacking in, and kind of
Okay.
push you forward from there. With
Nice.
with CrossFit, everybody thinks about universal scalability. That's like how you scale the workout. So,
Okay.
I might be doing a 315 deadlift for reps in a workout,
Oh,
and somebody else might be doing a 95-pound reps for deadlift in a workout,
okay.
right? So this goes two ways. So if you have really big numbers and you can pull stuff off, if the workout says, "Hey, today we're doing sets of 10 with 225 for deadlift," and you're like, "Man, I got a 600 plus deadlift," then I might say, "Hey, well, you know what? Let's go ahead. Let's try 315 or 365 for your deadlift today." So
Okay.
that way you're able to get the same stimulus. Same goes with your cardio movements as well. If you're a really proficient runner and a workout's coming in with some running in it, I want to make sure that you get the best stimulus possible for you. So if you're going through with what is intended to be a 2 to 3 minute run, finishing it in 2 minutes, I might say, hey, let's go add just a little bit to that so that way we can stay in our desired stimulus for the workout so that way we can start progressing forward. Or, even get to the point where if your gymnastics movements are just phenomenal, we can add some weight vests to it. And then we can look at the other area of that as well, which is the total flip side of it, of how to scale back. Say, I can't do a push up, or I can't do a pull up, I can't really run yet. So what am I supposed to do? And we can kind of start from steps there. So that way, regardless if you're a professional athlete, like I said, or somebody who's just starting out, we can get the exact same stimulus in the workout finishing at about the same time for both of them.
Oh, that's interesting. Now, we
Mm-hmm.
talked about Fran. We
Uh
talked
huh.
about Cindy. We talked
Mm-hmm.
about Murph.
Yeah.
Tell me about WOD. I hear WOD a lot when it comes to CrossFit. What does that mean?
So why? That's just simply the workout of the day.
Oh,
Back in
okay, okay.
back in the 2000s when CrossFit first started to kind of get some momentum going, they came out with this workout of the day page. So CrossFit, everything was totally free. It was on the internet, and this was a chance for people all around the world to access CrossFit's website, do the workouts, and then record their results on the internet. So
Okay.
this was making a document for people to show their progress in CrossFit. And this is something
Oh,
that the people at CrossFit headquarters used way back in the day to kind of figure out, where they should be going with the workouts based off the fitness community. And that's something that, I really bought into back in the day. I can remember, back in the, late 2000s, early 2010s, back before it really started getting big. That was like the exciting thing to do was, once you finish your workout, you go and post it to main site, your results,
Oh.
and then everybody's commenting on it. And, that was one of the first experiences that I had with CrossFit community.
Do people still use it?
Yeah, not as much as they used
Not as
to.
much. Okay.
There's a lot of the gyms and stuff, a lot of the affiliates out there, they've started using different types of program like SugarWOD or Wodify to be able to help their members kind of keep track of their workouts. So it's kind of moved away from this global platform more to like a local gym platform. But I always do encourage people where if there are certain types of CrossFit benchmark workouts that come up on main site, let's go ahead and kind of check them out, see where you're stacking up, and just keep that legacy going on the main site page.
Nice. What would you say to someone who's considering trying CrossFit for the first time, like me? What do we need to know?
I would say go ahead, hop in there and try it.
Okay.
One of the big things that I would suggest, though, try to find some CrossFit affiliates who offer separate classes for people who are just wanting to try out CrossFit.
Oh,
A
okay.
lot of the times, yeah, folks will really get excited in the CrossFit community and have other people's come into their classes. So, what we want to take into consideration is finding a proper environment that's welcoming for people who might have never done these movements before. Some type of environment that's going to allow the coaches to be able to get a good background on all the athletes to make sure that there's not a lot of pre-existing injuries they're going to have to work around. And if there are pre-existing injuries, to be able to make those proper scaling modifications. Another thing that we want to take into consideration is um, how these athletes are going to respond to the workout. So having a novice class for these folks to try it is a lot more beneficial than just throwing them into a group class. Sometimes if you have, former athletes that might have been, top of their game when they were in high school or college, but now it's been 10 years since they've done any physical activity, and you throw them into class with some, mid 20-year-olds who have been doing CrossFit for 5 or 10 years, they're going to see the way they're performing and they're going to try to keep up with them, which this is usually a recipe for injury, which is something that, we always try to prevent from happening.
Oh,
So
yeah.
that would be the first one that I would look for. Secondly, I would say, just use this opportunity, do some research, find some facilities that, have some good reviews, that have some good community. But biggest and most importantly, think about your fitness goals. If
Yeah.
you're somebody who is thinking like I'm wanting to be a fitness competitor, then you need to do some research and try to find the CrossFit box that's going to best suit your needs. If you're somebody that's looking for a community aspect and somebody to be held accountable for their workouts and have somebody try to get you to the gym, go through and look for a CrossFit affiliate that fits your needs. Because although a lot of the CrossFit affiliates, they do use kind of the same methodology, some of these places do have different goals in mind for their members. So I would just do a little research and find the ones that's best for you.
Yeah, that's a great tip. That's a
Yeah.
great tip. I do see that. I see that a lot. The group classes, they help people. They keep them motivated
Oh, yeah.
and
Hmm.
accountable. You got other people
Oh, yeah.
there that are just trying to do the
Mhm.
same thing. Now, after a workout, you got to get some protein, right? Everybody needs protein.
We do live in Alabama. We got about 20 chickens in the backyard. So I get home from the gym and I go gather up a bunch of eggs.
Oh,
I
nice.
know that lots of folks, yeah, in big cities probably won't be able to pull that one off, but we get about, 12 to 15 a day. So I go and get my six in the morning and, cook those up in my breakfast, and, family kind of eats on the rest of them. And that's about my protein after the gym. I used to do like protein shakes and stuff, but I don't know. Just as I got older, I just like to get more just the natural whole foods and things like that. Because I mean, honestly, I've stayed pretty hardcore when I try something. If I'm going to do a protein or I'm going to do some type of supplement or try a different type of strength program, like I'll stick with it through fruition for anywhere from 8 to 12 months just to make sure kind of what's going on before I flip to the next. And I just found whole foods. you really don't get that much more benefit
Oh,
from
absolutely not.
trying to eat the proteins and the supplements and things unless your diet is like super clean. Because if you're taking protein shakes and doing all this stuff, but then eating, hamburgers and ice cream, you could fix all that by cleaning up your diet a little bit more than taking supplements.
I mean, nowadays, that's like a humble brag saying you're eating eggs. You got your own
Yeah,
chickens out back. You must be
yeah.
a millionaire.
Man, you know what? Who needs that goose with the golden egg when you got them chickens laying real eggs? You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
You got it. You did
Yeah.
it. 12
Yep.
eggs, that's like $12,000. That's
I know,
incredible.
man.
The profit
Yeah.
margins.
Mm-hmm.
You got to get into that.
Yeah.
Anyways, when I first found out we were doing this podcast, I was excited because I wore one of my best shirts. You can't see. It says Stay
Love it.
Scorched, Scorched Mind. It's one of my boys'
Mm-hmm.
bands. I love it. And I see all the guitars behind you.
Yeah.
Now we're going to make this a little complicated for you. I
All
only
right.
want you to pick one song. Just one song Brick needs on
Yeah.
his playlist. What's your favorite workout song?
You know what? I got to be a little bit biased on this
Okay.
because I do have my band that I play with and my guitarist, who's been my best friend for like 20 years. We do write original music.
All right. What we got?
So I would have to say our newest album that was just released. I'm playing bass on all these tracks. My buddy Preston Black, he's the writer of it. Rob Buck, he's playing drums. So if you check out the newest album, Preston Black, the album's called Unchecked.
Unchecked.
Probably it's called Unchecked. The one that I would say that you need on your playlist is one of our new songs. It's called Menacing.
Menacing.
And it is menacing, yeah. Menacing. It is fantastic. It is one of my favorite ones that
I
we've
got that
done.
on my list now.
It is definitely one that'll get you pumped.
Is it on Spotify?
Yes, on Spotify, Apple
Yeah.
Music, Amazon, all of
Okay.
them.
I'm excited. I'm gonna get that on there. Menacing.
Yeah, menacing.
Nice. Now, man, this has been fun. What kind of guitars you got back there?
So this one right here, that's my OG guitar. That's the one that I play for all of our shows.
Nice.
I've had that one since 2002. I've gotten tons of more guitars since then. This is my, Tobias USA one. This is actually a really cool one right here. This is a Washburn, but if you know this little thing coming off right here, it actually has a whammy bar on it. So
Oh, yeah.
having a bass with a whammy bar, kind of crazy. This is my 5-string that I play for some of our songs that require 5 strings, but I don't like playing 5-string all that much. You just take my main one out, and then that's, everybody's got to have a guitar.
Oh,
But those are actually my main instruments right there. Cello, that's the one that I play.
Whoa.
Yeah. And then I got a whole bunch of other, my
Whoa.
upright bass, got some drums, banjos.
Look at
that. But that's just that's what I do when I'm not in the gym is, play music.
Yeah, you got a lot there. That's amazing. Yeah. Now, before we wrap up, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's something that we can do to get stronger without having to go to the gym? Not everybody can play guitar on their backs.
That's one of the things I get asked a lot at. I'm a freshman academy principal during the day.
Cool.
And I have a lot of kids that ask me because they follow me on Instagram. Hey, what can I do? I don't have a gym, and I try to tell them even though you see stuff that I post on Instagram where I'm lifting huge weights and throwing around rocks and pushing huge sleds and all these things with barbells or objects. But honestly, the best thing to do is back to the basics. Push-ups, air squats, sit-ups, getting to the point where you can do, handstand push-ups, handstand holds, pull-ups, dips, bodyweight dips. Those are some of the things that are going to get you some of the best results. And by getting really proficient at bodyweight movements, it's just going to translate over for when you're picking up barbells as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
And they asked one of my best questions. They asked me how many reps should I do?
Oh, that's a great question.
Get up in the morning, how many push-ups should I do in the morning? And every single time I'll look at them and I will tell them all of them.
All of them.
All of them. How many reps? All of them.
That's what I'm talking about.
What is that? Yeah, they say, what does that mean? I say, well, you know what? You do all the reps you can, and then when you can't do any more reps, rest for about 2 or 3 minutes, and then guess what? Do all the reps you can do again.
All of them.
Rest all of them, and then take a
Oh,
little rest and do a third set, all you can do, and then you'll be done. And you'll have a great pump. You'll have a good workout. You're not focused on that number. You're focused on that pump and that feeling. And all of a sudden it gets to the point where they're like, man, I was doing, X movement for, 2 minutes. And like, I stopped because I just kept on doing it. I was like, okay, great. Now's the time where you need to add a little bit of weight of resistance into it.
yeah.
And then all of a sudden, they're, going to the sky with them gains.
That's great. That's a great
Yeah.
tip. We got to get those reps. All of
All
them.
of
All
Mhm.
of them. Oh, I
All
love
of
that. I love that, Alex. Because guess what?
Yeah.
I'm going to steal that.
Mhm.
I'm going to steal that, start
Awesome.
using it. But hey,
Good. Do it.
thanks for being a guest on Reppin Fitness.
Yeah, man. I appreciate you having me on here, man. I really do.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for doing
Yeah.
what you do, man. I love watching
Mhm.
your videos. They get me
Well, thank
fired
you.
up. And,
Whew.
and for everyone at home, we'll see
Mhm.
you on the next episode. And make sure
Yeah.
you get all those reps.
Let's get those reps.
Yeah, all of them. All of them.
Whew.
Yeah, I'm going to go back to it.